Welcome to With the First Pick, where we're going team by team to build a perfect 7-round mock draft. Who's on the clock today? We're breaking down the Jacksonville Jaguars, their biggest needs, best fits, and sleeper picks that could make their draft. By the time we're done, you'll have a complete blueprint for how they can dominate draft weekend. That's Josh Edwards. I'm Ryan Wilson. It's time to get into the old mock draft simulator and build this perfect draft for the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, Josh, let's do this. First up. What are you thinking here? I'm trying to think. So they had Trevor Etienne. They got Trevor Lawrence a few years ago. Trevon Walker last year. Brian Thomas Jr. Did they have 2 picks last year in the first round? Just Brian Thomas Jr.?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. They just crushed that one. So this year they're picking 5th. What do you want to do? A popular destination player-wise for the 5th pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars has been Mason Graham, defensive tackle out of Michigan, but you can go in any direction you want, sir, because this team has some needs. They didn't do anything along the defensive line in free agency. They drafted Mason Smith last year at LSU. They have, of course, the aforementioned Trevon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen on the edge, but it feels like we're forever bolstering the interior offensive defensive line. So what do you want to do?
Well, the other option here is Arizona wide receiver Tet McMillan. That is intriguing to possibly pair him with Brian Thomas Jr. Gives you a little bit more size. Liam Cohen coming from Tampa Bay had that exposure with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, etc. So that is tempting, but I think Mason Graham is better for what they want to do because you have Josh Hines-Allen, you have Trevon Walker, now throw in Mason Graham, and you're really cooking with gas now.
Yep. Don't overthink it. I don't care that he's physically not what you want him to look like in terms of getting up the bus. Go watch him play. Layup. Not super excited to talk to at the combine. That's okay. He ain't running the game show. All right, next up, round 2 here. Pick 36. Back on the clock. Man, Nick Scorton staring us in the face. We don't necessarily need him, but I like the idea of that possibility. Josh Connerly Jr., the left tackle out of Oregon. Illick Ayuminor is there. I'm going to be a little too rich for me for the Stanford wide receiver, but Josh, what are you thinking here? I'll just give you a quick update, by the way. They signed De'Ami Brown, the wide receiver in free agency. They got some help along the interior offensive line with Robert Hainsey and Patrick McCarry. McCarry came, of course, from the Ravens. And they got nickelback Jordan Lewis as well.
What are the options at wide receiver and tight end?
Got Ayuminor, my guy Jack Besh, Xavier Restrepo, the best slot receiver no one's talking about.
Mason Taylor.
They got a lot of dudes. Right. So they moved on from Evan Ingram, and Brenton Strange is TE1 right now. They signed Johnny Munt, who is a blocking tight end. So, yeah, that's I'm picking up what you're putting down if you're in the tight end market here.
I am. We also have pick 70. If you think any of those, particularly Arroyo or Mason Taylor, would be available there, or Terrence Ferguson. I think we're going to have more options at tight end if we wait.
Yeah, it's deep class there.
Yeah. Let's see. Safety group. All the good safeties off the board.
So Darnell Savage is not playing nickelback this year. They figured that out. And they have Eric Murray, who they signed from the Texans as well, but they could certainly use some depth there. I love Xavier Watts. Man, we haven't talked a lot about him. Debo's Kevin Winston Jr.'s there. He told Debo exclusively the combine that he's going to run it as pro day or in a personal workout. So we'll see if that happens. He had a good season until he got banged up early on, had a really good 2023. Latham Ransom, super smart kid out of Ohio State who is a thumper. Anything, what's your whistle?
Nothing jumps out. Anything jump out to you?
I love Xavier Watts. It's too rich for Xavier Watts. 36, probably.
Probably a little rich for me.
So
can you scroll down a little bit farther, Debo.
I mean, you could draft Josh Connerly Jr. if you're looking for some depth, because I mean,
Trey Amos.
Oh, okay.
Maxwell
now we're
Harrison, Siobhan Revel. Okay.
All right.
Just let's go down a little farther.
Yeah. All right. Let's do some cornerbacks here. So you can take your guy. You can take any. I'll let you decide here. I love Trey Amos. I like Harrison. He had the shoulder injury last year, so he missed some time. But you're, Kentucky kids better than anyone. Suvone Revel, Darren Porter are long and fast. So I mean, you can't go wrong here. So whatever you think.
Yeah, let's go with Suvone Revel from East Carolina.
Nice. Veered off course. Didn't go Kentucky. Disrespectful to Tubby Smith, but that's okay. All right, now
You've got to learn some more Kentucky coaches.
That's
We've
really
been on this.
Tubby Smith, my guy from North Carolina. All right, pick 70.
Elijah Arroyo, Terrence Ferguson, Harold
Yeah, so which
Fannin.
one of those athletic tight ends do you want for T-Law?
My preference would be Arroyo.
All right. You talked me into it. Like, I mean, he's more established. He's less of a project, I should say, than Mason Taylor, who's insanely athletic, Jason Taylor's son. I think Terrence Ferguson, he hasn't hit his floor, but he's a really good football player as well.
Oh, Mason Taylor is there. I actually did not see him. Let's go with Mason Taylor. Yeah, let's go Mason Taylor.
All right, Mason, that's fine. I mean, again, half a dozen to one. Man, the Jaguars are crushing this draft. All right, next up, I got pick 88. It's pick 88. So it's wide open now.
I like the idea of building out some depth along the interior offensive line. So there's some good options there.
So there's Jonah Savaiinaea. There's actually, Debo, go back to tackle because some of these guys are going to move inside. Savaiinaea and Wyatt Millam are both probably going to move inside.
Yeah, Bo there too.
Who? Mbo's there. Tate Ratledge. So again, I'll give you the choice.
Just going to let me make all the picks here, Ryan? Jeez.
You're doing pretty good. If I don't like them, I'll speak up.
Okay, personally, I would go Jonah Savaiinaea, offensive tackle, converting to offensive guard, presumably in this case.
And he could play a little right tackle if you need him to. They have Anton Harrison there, of course, but thinking long-term down the road. Okay, so we got a corner. We were looking at safety. I love Andrew Makuba, especially.
I do too. I think this is good value.
Yeah, this is pick 1. Is that 107? Is that what that says? That is 107. Yeah, I like him. I talk to teams. I think he's day 3. I like him day 2 because clearly I'm smarter than the teams. But yeah, ran fast. I thought he played a lot better once he left Clemson and played at Texas last year. Jahdae Barron couldn't say enough good things about him when we talked to him. Super smart kid. All right, I think we're in agreement. You okay with that?
I'm good.
All right, next up.
Got to settle in now. We got 5 more picks left.
Yeah, they have 10 picks the Jaguars do in this draft. So Andrew Makuba, Debo, and then we will get to pick 1, 2, 6, 126. All right.
So at this point, I was going to say, so at this point, we haven't addressed wide receiver, linebacker, but was there somebody that jumped out to you?
So Barrett Carter's at the top of the list there, but I feel like they drafted like 27 linebackers a couple years ago. Let's see wide receiver real quick, and then we'll keep Barrett Carter in our back pocket. Oh, yeah. So Pat Bryant put up a lot of numbers. He just didn't run very fast, and that sort of showed up on tape. I'm a huge Isaac Tesla guy to Arkansas, but even at pick 126, that might be too rich for some folks. It's not too rich for me, but Juice Wells is there. What do we need? So we know we have Brian Thomas Jr. You have De'Ami Brown. Parker Washington in the slot. Debo's guy out of Penn State. I love Dante Thornton. He's basically Brian Thomas Jr., but more raw. So what do you think? Linebacker or wide receiver?
I like the options at wide receiver. Torrey Horton, Kyle Williams from Washington State is a guy that I like. I think he's going to be gone sooner than this.
Okay. Let's put Kyle Williams. Are you going to play him in the slot?
Yeah, you would play him in the slot. I think he gives you a little bit of that Randall Cobb type ability. He plays faster than he tests. Just a really savvy player.
All right, you got your little old school Kentucky reference in there. We're tied 1-1. Let's see how this goes. Randall Cobb versus Tubby Smith. All right, pick 142. 4 to go. Man, we're crushing.
Quinn Ewers is still there.
That checks out. Well, the backup quarterback's Nick Mullins. Do you want to? You don't want to.
You could, yeah.
You don't want to bring that smoke on T-Law in year 1 with Liam Cohen. So let's look at the linebackers, Debo. Oh my gosh, yeah, Kyle McCord's still there. Debo's got Kobe King is there. I love Kobe King. I don't know if you had a chance.
I do too.
All right, let's take Kobe King here. He feels like an mixed old school and new school thumper linebacker who can move in space. All righty. Where are we at here? This is pick. Should be 182. It's 182. All right, so now we can just pick for value. Denzel Burke's still there if you want to get some more depth along In the cornerback room, we have already one defensive tackle. Anything floats your boat here, Josh?
A little surprised a few of those quarterbacks are still there. There's some running backs, but they don't necessarily need one.
Yeah, they got Tank and
this point
Travis.
Yeah, Emory Jones is still there.
Yeah,
Caleb Ransall from Tulane. Good.
Caleb ran a 4.33, the cornerback out of Tulane. I'm leaning towards either Emory Jones as more interior guard depth or Caleb Ransall as more secondary depth.
Yeah, let's mix it up and go with Ransall.
All right. 4.33 out of Tulane. I heard if he had run sub 4.3, his agent was going to have to shave his head, but he just avoided that potential long-term disaster. All right, next up, pick 194. 2 picks to go here. We're in the 6th round.
Why don't you take your quarterback, Ryan? You're getting ready to go see him throw. You might as well.
Disrespectful to Kyle McCord still on the board here. I'm not taking Kyle McCord here. I know Trevor Lawrence couldn't handle that smoke. He'd lose the job in minicamp. All right, let's see what else we got here. So we just drafted a cornerback. Let's look at the offensive line, Debo. Just keep adding depth there of some guys that we like. Jake Majors, Miles Frazier. I like Miles Frazier. Dylan Fairchild. Scroll down a little bit. Clay Webb. All right, I think I'm going to go Clay Webb just to mix it up. He is a Jackson State kid. I think he's a Georgia transfer. He's an SEC transfer.
He is. Former really 5-star recruit.
Okay, there. Yeah, we've talked about him. Thank you for that. Had a really good Senior Bowl. And I like this tape at Jackson State. One more pick to go here. 221.
And he would probably be the center of the future.
Yeah, right. I think he worked at center at the Senior Bowl, if I recall correctly. And as I mentioned, they signed Robert Hainsey. They have Luke Fortner, who I don't think they love. So you get some depth there. And one last pick here, Josh. If you want to go quarterback, you can. I will just put this out there. I would go Ricky White strictly because he had 4 block punts last year as a special teams demon. Only ran 4.6, but he gets it in terms of playing special teams, and we don't talk enough about that. By the way, I love your guy, Jamon Dumas Johnson, as a linebacker. He's still out there. I would take him much earlier, but there are only 250-something slots to get drafted. So I'll give you final choice, but my vote is for Ricky White.
Yeah, and I like Teddy Buchanan, the linebacker from California, Keaton Crawford, the safety from Nevada. Both guys available at this point. But let's go with your guy, Ricky White, to round
wide
it out.
receiver at UNLV, who's an absolute special teams demon, master of the block punt. And
at this point, you're just looking for special teams contributions, so that fits into the narrative that we're looking for.
All right. To recap here, Mason Graham out of Michigan up first. Subone Rebel last until the top of round 2, had the ACL injury. Mason Taylor, the tight end out of LSU, Jason Taylor's son. Jonas Abenaya, guard/tackle out of Arizona. Andrew Makuba, safety from Texas by way of Clemson. Josh's got Kyle Williams, the Washington State wide receiver. Kobe King, Debo's linebacker. Kalen King's brother. Caleb Ransall ran the 4.33 at the combine. The corner out of Tulane. Clay Webb out of Jackson State by way of Georgia. Interior offensive line help. And finally, Ricky White, UNLV wide receiver, special teams dude. PFF gave that an A- to get Clay Webb an F. Whatever. That averages out to a C, so I'm winning. All right, Josh, that is it. That's a pretty stellar draft for the Jacksonville Jaguars, if you ask me. Make sure to subscribe to NFL on CBS on YouTube and download the With the First Pick podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And stay tuned for more perfect mock drafts because we're hitting all 32 teams.